We are happy to be able to bring you lots of exciting updates again this week. Among them are Spider-Man 4, an upcoming Bambi horror movie, new images of the forthcoming The Last of Us series, as well as a new motion poster of the upcoming 4th season of Netflix's You. Also, if you want to know what many pounds of cocaine, a full-grown black bear, and the 21 Jump Street creators have in common, stay tuned. The Spider-Man trilogy is an unparalleled success in director Jon Watts' filmography. The 41-year-old was significantly responsible for the realization of the film series with Tom Holland, and if Sony officials have their way, will also direct the upcoming movies. In his podcast a few days ago, industry insider Tom Smith spoke about this very topic because apparently the planned commitment of Watts is not going as well as expected. At Sony, the 4th Spider-Man installment with Tom Holland is in the works under top priority, and so the pressure to finally start concrete preparations for filming is growing. The screenplay is also said to be currently receiving special attention, but unlike the contract with Tom Holland, the one with Jon Watts has not been signed yet. Previously, the director announced his intention to devote more time to directing series and thus not to focus on Spider-Man 4 for the time being. So instead, Watts is currently busy creating the new Star Wars series Skeleton Crew, which has not been completed yet and requires his full attention. Thus, Sony is in a quandary because if they can't close the Watts deal soon, a delay in production could be the immediate result. On the other hand, it would also be a high risk to rely on another director who didn't direct the 3 previous films and thus has less familiarity with the franchise. Also not yet officially confirmed is Zendaya as MJ, although her commitment is surely just a formality. After all, as Peter Parker's girlfriend, she is integral to the rest of the story. Nevertheless, it will need some clarifying as to how she and Peter will reunite after her memory loss in the previous part. The sequel to No Way Home will be exciting anyways, since after its ending, in which the multiverse chaos was as good as resolved, the franchise finds itself at a kind of a new start. According to rumors, a crossover with Daredevil could be in planning for the next film, or the one after that, but there are no official statements on the matter yet. Based on the current schedule, Spider-Man 4 is set to hit theaters in the summer of 2024, but the actual date cannot be estimated until the commitment of the director. There is further news about a Spider-Man film that will probably not ever be released. We are talking about the 4th Spider-Man film, which was in planning with director Sam Raimi and leading actor Tobey Maguire. In this film, the award-winning Hollywood veteran John Malkovich would have taken on the role of Vulture. The latter is a supervillain from the Spider-Man universe and even had a suitable costume for the film already. The proposed outfit is said to have been intended for Malkovich and was made for Sony by the friends of a Twitter user who uploaded a corresponding picture. On it, you can see an elaborate outfit custom-made for the planned Vulture actor, which left many fans impressed for its look. The production's progress is made particularly clear by the image and sparked feelings of nostalgia among many. Would you have loved to have seen a 4th Spider-Man movie starring Tobey Maguire, or are you satisfied with the Tom Holland trilogy? Feel free to let us know in the comments. Many of you probably have heard of the upcoming Cocaine Bear movie from 21 Jump Street creators Chris Miller and Phil Lord. First, a bizarre poster started circulating on social media. On it, you can see a black and white image of a towering bear covered in a white substance. At first glance, you might think it's snow, but in conjunction with the catchy title, Cocaine Bear, there's no doubt left on what it actually is. In addition, the words "inspired by true events" attract attention, because in fact, a case occurred in the 1980s in which a black bear was found to have consumed several pounds of cocaine after it was thrown from a smuggler's vehicle that was too heavily loaded. So what at first sounds like a crazy writer's fever dream turns out to be a true story that will be humorously brought to the big screen. A first trailer was released this past Wednesday and reveals the film's intentional trash factor. The Hunger Games director Elizabeth Banks has taken over directing, and in the leading roles, we can expect to see, among others, the American stars Margot Martindale and Kerry Russell, as well as Straight Outta Compton actor O'Shea Jackson Jr. It is also one of the very last movies in which the late Ray Liotta will be featured. So, let's see how the movie will be received by audiences. It'll be out in theaters starting February 24th, 2023. In recent years, Netflix has achieved great success with You. In the meantime, the thriller series consists of 3 seasons and will soon be followed by a 4th one, so it's slowly time to really get going with the promotional phase, which is why a motion poster has now been published. It shows the main character Joe, who is now living in London under a new identity as Professor Jonathan Moore after the events of the last season. The background sounds highlight the setting, which is set in a university, and increase the suspense for what the obviously not so good-tempered professor is likely to do next. Joe is in London for a reason, as he is looking for Marion, played by Tati Gabrielle. She got involved in the incidents between Joe and Love last season and then escaped from the United States to London. So it'll be exciting to see how the cat and mouse game between the two ends, since Joe is obviously hot on her heels. We're looking forward to the 4th season and hope to get a first trailer soon. The release date for the first episodes is February 9th, 2023, with the second half coming out a month later on March 9th, 2023. The preparations for the series premiere of the upcoming The Last of Us series are currently in full swing. A few days ago, we got to see a new poster that should please fans of the gaming series, as the design is very similar to that of the game cover. Both protagonists are gazing back at the viewer in front of a post-apocalyptic setting, with the vibe being gloomy. Indeed, many feelings of nostalgia come up at this sight, especially for those who played the game in 2013 when it was first released on the PlayStation 3. Now, they get treated to a 10-episode series almost 10 years later. In general, the anticipation seems to be high, and with just under 6 weeks to go before the release, HBO Max has released some additional images of the characters that will be making an appearance. A total of 11 characters are introduced, including Joel's daughter Sarah, Ellie's friend Riley, and the popular companions Bill and Tess, in addition to Joel and Ellie. Hardly any other video game adaptation is currently under as much pressure to meet fans' expectations as The Last of Us, which is mainly due to the large fanbase and the excellently rated first part of the video game series. In terms of story, The Last of Us revolves around the unlikely team of Joel and Ellie. Joel is a smuggler who one day receives the unusual assignment of escorting the young teenager Ellie across the United States. At first, the two are very skeptical of each other, but over the course of the story, they grow into an unbeatable team and must overcome many dangers together. In addition to the spreading fungus, which has wiped out a large part of the living creatures and almost all humans, turning them into the undead, there are also many human threats, be it deceitful highwaymen, the ex-military, or entire organizations. Behind the scenes, game designer Neil Druckmann is involved as a producer, and Chernobyl director Craig Mazin is in charge of directing. The official series debut is January 15th, 2023 on HBO Max. With Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and Peter Pan, Neverland Nightmare, two dark and bizarre spin-offs of well-known Disney characters will be released next year. In both cases, these are horror flicks that have nothing to do with their original characters and are completely separate. Moreover, as a family-friendly corporation, Disney is not involved in them. However, how can it be that outside filmmakers simply use some of the most famous cartoon characters without being hit by copyright lawsuits from Disney? The reality is that the copyrights to the respective book originals have expired, which in turn means that anyone can adapt the world-famous characters without needing to pay for a license. This is not to be confused with Disney films, which have a particular style of their own and are unrelated, so you can't just adapt Winnie the Pooh from Disney Productions but have to refer to the original book, so to speak. In addition to Peter Pan and Winnie the Pooh, another equally innocent character is now waiting for its horror makeover, namely Bambi. The upcoming movie is also to be produced by Scott Jeffrey, who is already involved in the aforementioned Winnie the Pooh movie. As the maker himself revealed to Dread Central, Bambi will be an incredibly dark retelling of the 1928 story, with the sweet fawn becoming a merciless killing machine. The movie is said to be inspired by The Ritual, a horror flick in which a deer-like creature also wreaks havoc. What are your thoughts on the odd concept of adapting well-known book and cartoon characters into a horror movie? And what other characters can you think of for a fearsome horror makeover? Let us know in the comments down below. That's it with the most important news for this week. If you're interested in knowing what exciting movies you can expect in the coming year, we recommend our latest original episode, The Best Upcoming Blockbuster Movies 2023. Have fun watching and see you next week.